Coinbase's IPO is injecting some serious bullishness back into Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency markets. And this category of coins has gone absolutely parabolic on back of this news. Today, we're going to be talking about how Coinbase might have been the reason why Bitcoin has broken upwards out of its sideways trend and once again regained its path towards 100K. Moreover, the category of exchange coins has become white hot, and we're going to be talking about the moves that Binance has been making in Coinbase's shadow and how all of this wraps up to be a big ball of bullish news for the crypto industry. If you guys are excited for this one, go ahead, destroy that like button, and remember, each and every comment on this video is entered to win your very own hardware wallet. Remember, as always, there's scammers in the comments pretending to be me, and with that said, let's dive in. The news is coming in from everywhere, and Coinbase's IPO is set to go public, rumors have it, at $100 billion. That would make it the biggest financial exchange in the world, commanding a higher market cap valuation than the actual owner of the New York Stock Exchange, the Intercontinental Exchange. So for this reason, it's no surprise that FUD is all around us and that Coinbase's ability to justify this $100 billion valuation is starting to get put to the test. Now, I'm not here to comment on the stonks. I'm just here to comment on the movement of the markets and, of course, the social climate that has created, once again, a renewed excitement and attention for Bitcoin. Now, looking here, what we see is that the main complaints here are that there's an over-reliance here on a certain type of activity, which is, of course, trading, which happens way more in bull markets to drive profits for Coinbase. So if we're in peak bull mode, this is kind of like buying the top here on Coinbase's valuation, as during the bear markets, it was actually working at a deficit instead of being profitable. Now, that said, this article also alleges that the pricing is not allowing for much upside. Coinbase is trading at 77 times their actual annual revenue in sales, and we're seeing a lot of people saying that, hey, this valuation is impossible to justify. But what this really symbolizes, in my opinion, is the larger climate of crypto hysteria. And of course, every time we get into these bull markets, the belief that these bull markets symbolize the never-ending growth of crypto. Now, I said that as if I don't believe that's going to happen. The reality is I do believe it's going to happen. It's just about understanding how the emotional nature of markets swing, and that this Coinbase IPO couldn't have been more perfectly timed if it was written in a storybook. They literally are getting the absolute bullish top of the NASDAQ. They're getting the absolute bullish top of the cryptocurrency markets in history. Now, is that to say that they can't perpetuate and go forward? Well, I've been sitting here telling you for years that they will, and they have. And so I believe that Bitcoin is still very early, relatively, considering how much more ground it has to go. But just understanding that Coinbase's IPO, for the most part, has a lot of this value appreciation priced in, and it very well might actually get a false start by the NASDAQ, essentially suffering from a little bit of overcookedness as well. But regardless of how Coinbase's IPO performs, what we need to understand is that this is driving a tremendous amount of mainstream financial attention into crypto markets, and Bitcoin is the primary beneficiary. But also we're seeing a huge surge in, you guessed it, exchange tokens like Binance. And of course, Binance is pumping a lot because of the Binance Smart Chain narrative. It also has PancakeSwap on it, which is, of course, one of the most powerful decentralized exchanges. So it's benefiting from, PancakeSwap overtaking Uniswap in actual trading volume, which we'll talk about in a second. But also it's benefiting from the fact that it is the exchange hub of cryptocurrency, regularly doing 3 to 5 times the volume of Coinbase itself. And so there is some logic here that maybe Binance should be valued at, 3 to 5 times what Coinbase is. And that's not to say that Binance's token itself should be valued the same as potentially the stock of Binance, the actual company, because they do have a company as well as a token. Regardless, what's important here is understanding that the flavor of the month, and most certainly the flavor of the week, is going to be exchange-driven products. And we see Binance absolutely exploding. We also saw a massive growth within KuCoin shares. Now, KuCoin is, of course, one of of the early Binance-esque exchanges, it suffered a massive hack. To be honest, it was kind of tragic because I traded a lot on KuCoin. I had a lot of funds on KuCoin. They did refund everything and make everyone whole again. And to be completely fair, their trading experience is second to none. I find it at times even better than Binance's, and the coins, the selection on KuCoin are actually phenomenal. You can get some serious gems over there on KuCoin. Regardless, the point is that this really brought KuCoin back on the map and might be the single thing that helps them overcome the scorched earth reputation that they developed after their hack. So shout out to KuCoin for making this comeback. But the fundamentals of KuCoin and BNB together show me that exchange tokens are in the air and that this is going to be a predominating trend over the next few days at least, while Coinbase IPO is all the rage. Whether Coinbase performs dramatically on its IPO, if it grows dramatically, that would mean that there would be huge room to grow for these exchange tokens, as that valuation of 100 billion multiplying in any meaningful way would mean that there is a lot of room to grow for these exchange tokens. As KuCoin shares is 1.4 billion, that's just 1% of what Coinbase is. And looking at Binance, we have an $89 billion valuation, and remember, this is doing 3 to 5 times the actual volume of Coinbase. Now, I've said this many times, and I tend to get a lot of flack for it in the crypto community, that I have a tremendous respect for CZ as an entrepreneur. I think he is one of the best, if not potentially the most impactful entrepreneur in the space. And yes, there are some huge builders, Satoshi, Vitalik. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I'm saying what CZ offers as providing a mainstream product offering for people looking to trade, and now people being able to trade with no fees tokenized versions of Tesla that are backed by underlying stocks. This is showing once again his ability to push into the new product categories and offer his audience something competitive, innovative, and that really serves the customer. We saw it with the original version of Binance offering crypto-to-crypto trading on all those baby gems that everyone wanted so badly. Then we saw it with the creation of Binance Smart Chain, which recently became the first and only really viable competitor to Ethereum. I don't mean that in any disrespectful way to Polkadot or Cardano. Those projects are just much earlier on, whereas Binance Smart Chain has a ton of on-chain activity to justify that statement. And now we're seeing it again with Binance making its own version of Robinhood. We can imagine that this is just the beginning of creating these user-friendly, low-fee environments to trade traditional securities. This is once again showing you that CZ is out there on the front lines, innovating, pushing, and growing. Let's not forget that CZ was the original Launchpad project with his IEO Launchpad for Binance that really set the entire crypto world ablaze with its lotto tickets and its insanely high-performing assets like Matic and Band. Of course, Matic is now Polygon and on an absolute warpath to incredible astronomical new highs. What's important to know here is that Binance is something to watch. And people have been saying that what we need to be looking out for is the flippening between BNB and Ethereum. Who am I to say it might happen? BNB gets a lot of flack in crypto. But I've been saying for a long time that CZ doesn't get enough credit and that the project is extremely strong and one not to underestimate. And I think this week has certainly proven that, especially for those who managed to hold on to their BNB bags from 2017. Well, they're sitting pretty right about now. I also wanted to touch on one of the babies of the channel. This is ROOK. We've been covering it since about $60, and this is one of the sort of leading projects in the miner extractable value category. I'm not going to go into the specifics of what ROOK does. I covered it all the way up, and then I also covered it about its peak at $700. It corrected heavily down to the 350 range, and now seems to be having a new lease on life. Again, also ArcherDAO pumped tremendously, up 131% on the day. This is a much smaller version of ROOK, focusing on kind of a different approach to miner extractable value. There's also a few other projects coming to market as well. Look, MEV is a huge hot button topic here. I encourage you guys to look at it. There's a project called Euler, which I'm a big fan and investor in, that I believe is going to be a huge player in this, as well as a project called Cloak. I'm going to be doing more miner extractable value videos, but this was notable news of the day is that KeeperDAO is bursting back to life, and same with ArcherDAO. So you want to keep your eyes out for miner extractable value projects, as those could potentially be huge gainers, as we've seen now that the growth of the miner extractable value industry continues to blossom, even with competitive chains like Binance emerging, and even with Ethereum improvement proposal 1559, as well as optimizations to gas spends. We're going to be going deep on MEV. I hope you guys are excited for it. If you are, go ahead, destroy that like button. And if you didn't understand anything about miner extractable value, don't worry, we'll explain it all soon. As one commentator stated, we are all Coinbase this week. And though Coinbase is a very controversial, centralized, big company in crypto, which tends to attract a lot of the wrong type of attention in a decentralized economy, well, guess what, guys? Coinbase is driving a ton of FOMO, excitement, and attention for the industry right now. Driving it so that people like Jim Cramer are tweeting, "Pay me in Bitcoin." This entire event is creating a massive amount of FOMO, driving projects like Binance and KuCoin shares through the roof, and I do believe we are entering into an entirely new leg of mainstream attention and adoption for crypto. I think it's about to get really interesting over the coming weeks, and I do believe that if you're allocated into high quality projects, and especially if you're able to get in early into high quality projects, that it will be one of the best times to build and grow personal wealth that has ever existed in the history of our economies. It's important that you build the good habits of investing long-term into things that have tremendous fundamental strength, taking profits at reasonable places, of course, in the younger altcoins, and then building up as much Bitcoin as you can. Because I do believe that as Coinbase justifies its $100 billion valuation, it's part of a story of Bitcoin still being extremely young in its entire life cycle. I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you got some value out of learning about Coinbase, its effects on BNB, the ripple effect on the actual exchange tokens, the growth of BNB and its potential not only as an exchange token but as an L1. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. As well, remember each and every comment on this video is entered to win your own hardware wallet. I'm Elio Trades. I thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Telegram or Twitter. The links for both of those are in the description. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.